I want to talk about this. You just pretty much answered my next question. Coming from Andorra, which, for those of you who don't know, Andorra is a small little country in between Spain and France. You can't even see it on the map. Like, it's very tiny.
Of the mountains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you said that, what, there's like 80,000 people there or something like that?
Something like that.
Something like that.
I'm surprised there's even that many in such a small country.
A little town for you.
Yeah, I think like you should get a band from Andorra, Liechtenstein, Monaco, like all the Vatican City, like, well, a metal band from Vatican City that actually Christian metal band. But coming from such a small country, but that being said, you're close to Spain, you're close to France, and there's plenty of metal bands out there. So just coming from your area, was there like a scene at all that Persephone launched?
There's no scene whatsoever. There are musical scene, but not metal. I mean, there we have a pretty good funk band in there, and some artists doing like avant-garde orchestral stuff.
Actually, there were another metal band, but we took the drummer and the guitar player.
Yeah, there was
from them,
Nami.
so-
Yeah.
Feeling like I'm losing my home. My entire life is tattered. Foundations of my non-soul crumbles. The experience of my world destroyed. Something is growing inside. A new life, a new form, a new mind. I'm now connected with a mystical force. The perception is me. Skeletal system disintegrated, body cavity exsanguinated, royal vomit, shit and piss explode from every orifice. Malignant cysts lacerated, fungal pathogens created, unrecognizable human matter, disgusting goddamn.
Now, I don't remember for the life of me how I found this record. Spiritual Migration by Persephone, or whatever, it's spelled Persephone, I'm gonna say it like that. Let's just say, the record came to me in a dream. I found it, I don't know, in high school probably? The one thing I do remember was that one track from Spiritual Migration stood out to me, and that's all I really listened to from that album for the longest time, and that was The Great Reality. And there was just something about that song, something about that track that just it hooked me on, man. It got me going, it made me happy. It was unlike anything I've ever heard before. It's just the time signature changes, and that kick pedal, and the musicianship overall. And I was going through that phase where it was a no clean singing phase, and that kind of it was almost like the stepping stone into accepting clean vocals along with harsh vocals. It kind of just went to show how the two can work together, can coincide. It opened a whole new door for me. It was a new chapter in the book of life. But going further down the road in life, listening to this album all the way through multiple times, I've grown to love it. I've always loved it from the one track I heard, but I've accepted it into my heart. There's just something about it, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And this video is going to be part review, part trying to put into words what I love so much about this album. Yeah, this is Spiritual Migration by Persefone. So this record is it's harmonies and dual leads galore. It's a soundscape. It's really something else. As a teenager, it blew my fucking marbles, man, and there's just something about it, as I keep saying. The biggest thing that I can say here is the fact that they have long, winding instrumentals, you know, both full tracks and sections in the tracks, dedicated to simply just instrumental pieces. And they're one of the bands that proved that they can do a long song, or just a song in general, without needing to rely on vocals. So many bands, they obviously put the front man front and center, and he's pretty much the selling point. He or she is the selling point of said band. But in in Persefone, the vocalist isn't the only thing they've got going for themselves. These guys are, dare I fucking say it, they're master musicians. They've demonstrated so much knowledge and mastery of their genre, which I can only really describe their genre as progressive death metal. They have plenty of time signatures and they fit the bill, because a lot of these bands that tend to go by progressive death metal or prog or whatever nowadays, they throw in a lot of chuggy riffs, and so many gent bands, the fans classify these gent groups as prog because they change the time between your does and your gents, you know. I don't see that as prog. I'm not a prog snob. I'm a fat fucking nerd. I listen to Dream Theater, and I'm a King Crimson fan, I'm a Pink Floyd fan, but I'm not a snob per se. I just don't see gent as... Yeah, I see gent as a real genre. It started off as a guitar technique that kind of like branched out into its own real thing at this point, but that's besides the point. I don't remember where the fuck I was going with this. Yeah, no, I lost it again. But no, the point here is instrumentals. There's a lot of groups that release instrumental songs that they just don't take. They're boring. There's nothing really to listen to. But these guys, they create this ambience, almost this atmosphere that hooks you. They have a soundscape going as a backdrop to their track that they're trying to present to us as listeners, and it's just amazing. They blend in unrelated sounding scapes with music. And I know a lot of groups do this, a lot of musical groups do this, but Persephone does it in a way that it fits the tone and the atmosphere altogether of the album. And I know it's not exactly a concept album, but the album feels like it has a theme, and all the songs feel like they're linked together because of this atmosphere that the songs have created. I know for a fact that I love concept albums. Concept albums are fucking awesome. And there's another thing I wanted to point out, but I'm going to talk about that later, because there's going to be a whole video dedicated to that. The songs and the sections with vocals, they're a full frontal assault. They will fucking beat you. They will rupture your eardrums. The double kick will shake you. The riffs will fucking blow your mind. The vocals are cool. They kind of sound part hardcore-y. Even the lows are still in that mid to high range. It's kind of interesting, very unique in my humble opinion. There's nothing about this album that I would personally change. I say this a lot. I don't give out 10 out of 10s very often, but this is a 10 out of 10. I can't help it. I might be biased because I friggin' love this album. I've listened to it a million times at this point. This is the same band that did a Star Wars melody. This band got it all, man. They can do anything. On top of interesting lyrics and the cool, awesome written instrumentation, they also tend to throw in a lot of symphonic elements just to add to everything. A lot of bands misuse symphonic pieces, and sometimes it just sounds like pure shit. It sounds like it doesn't belong there. But these guys managed to blend the symphonic elements into it. It just blends so seamlessly into the music as a whole. And it just it adds to that experience. This is not just an album. This is a fucking journey. It's almost like a journey into the self. There's a lot of talk in this album. I think it's what it's all about, is the inner self and realizing who you are and rebirth. And I think that's just a common theme here. It's a very non-violent album. A lot of prog, a lot of progressive death metal, a lot of blah blah blah. It's not very violent. That's a huge thing here, is that prog isn't usually a violent genre. And these guys, they're falling in with that crowd. You know, what's the point of doing violent music if you don't need to write about violence? Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love violence. It's a weird statement. I love violence in my music, in my death metal. I love Obituary and Ingested and Human Mastication and Murder Made God and Whore of Bethlehem and all this stuff, and Cryptopsy, obviously. You know, I'm not against violence, especially not in my music. I write about violence. You know, I don't have the album out yet, but I'm working on an album, and there's quite a bit of violent lyrical themes. It's not all violence, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, back to Spiritual Migration. I can't stress enough that this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't suggest this record enough to anybody. This could be used as a gateway, not just to the band, but to the genre. You could even use it as a gateway to get your friends who don't listen to metal to even just consider it. This is an album that showcases what a band is capable of. You know, unlike that Cataclysm review, you know, Cataclysm, they go for one specific sound, one very monotonous sound that just, it can get old if you listen to record after record after record. But Persephone, on their records, they always change it up, whether it's a different time signature or a different instrumental piece or a different sense of atmosphere. They always give you something to listen to. They keep your attention. They keep you paying attention. It's amazing. I don't know a better way to describe this. They go up and down the scales a lot on the guitar, and it just sounds incredible. They have a very technical playing style, and it doesn't sound like an artisan era style technicality. It just sounds like, they're using technical pieces. They use like an augury sound almost. Here, there, a little bit then, a little bit now, blah blah blah. They don't overuse technicality, and they don't sacrifice speed for substance. That's what a lot of these artisan era bands do. They kind of just jack off in fury, and you know, it's like, I don't want to get too far into it because I want to make a video about it, but it's almost like the artisan era bands are just in fury, fucking Archspire in the asshole until they shit out an alien egg out of their dick. That's really all the artisan era bands are anymore. It's just a crossover, a rip-off of the two bands. That's the only thing I can really describe them as. But anyway, fuck, I keep digressing. It's probably not going to be too long of a video because I think I may have said everything I got to say about this record. I'm almost done my coffee anyway. It doesn't really matter, but... Okay, 10 out of 10. The Great Reality. That's the highlight track. Okay, there we go. The highlight track for this, for Spiritual Migration. The Great Reality. This one will get you fucking hooked. It's fast. It's slow. Well, it's not slow. It goes mid-tempo. It goes pretty fast to mid-tempo to fast to mid-tempo. There's amazing cleans. It showcases the diversity between the vocals. And it just... It gives you an orgasm every time you listen to it. You kind of like cream yourself whenever... You know, some lame asses will talk about how chuggy the album is as a whole, and... No. Just like Cataclysm, they use the chugs to their advantages. Or they only have one advantage, or multiple advantages. I don't fucking know. But these guys know what they're doing, and they do it really well. I don't think there's a single album by them that I don't like. But I worship, I idolize this album. The name keeps escaping me. Hang on. Spiritual Migration. I idolize and I worship Spiritual Migration. I want to get it on physical. I would love to get it on vinyl. I'll even fucking I don't know, I'll make a bootleg tape of it or something someday. I don't know. That'd be cool. I like bootleg tapes. I've been to so many grind shows and there's so many vendors selling bootlegs, it's not even funny. Like everyone, it's like guys just show up to grindcore shows and they're like, hey, check out my bootleg collection. You can have fucking 50 of them for $2. My buddy, he once bought he bought a fucking floppy disk off of one of these grindcore dudes. And it was weird. He got all of the stuff made, you know, that's made for listening to floppy disks and exploring a floppy disk, blah blah blah. and it turned out to be this Ontario noise band called Shelf. It's a one-man project, and in one of my my past bands, which was a mistake, we opened for Shelf. Very, very cool dude. Very creative. Weird music. Very good though. Fucking weird. Alright. 10 out of 10. Spiritual Migration Persephone. Listen to it. Buy it. Sell it to your friends. Suggest it to your friends. Whatever, man. Show your friends. You're gonna love this album. I don't give 10 out of 10s easy, and you'll probably only see maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 at the most. This included 10 out of 10s in my my reviews. But anyway, that's enough for me. I wanted to release this while the week is still young. Yeah, the week is still young, because I didn't get a chance to record a video last week. So there's gonna be 2 videos coming this week. This one and another one. And I'm working on a couple of big things, some series. But yeah. Thank you for watching. If you did, if you didn't, you know, I'm gonna fuck your mom tonight or something. I don't know, some edgy shit, some incel shit. Alright.